All right, everybody, it's Thursday. It's another strategy based in love. Are you ready? So when I was 34, I was an intern in behavior, and I heard something called the Island of Competence. And I was like, what is that? I get it. I get that, right? Imagine you're on an island of things that only you're good at, and you're really good at them, and you shine all the time on your island. Who would not want to be on that island? We'd all be on it. And I was like, where did that come from? And how do we figure this out? How do we use this? So then I went years later, right? That always went through my brain, like, yeah, find stuff kids are good at. Got it. Okay. That's a good strategy based in love. And then I met with a sixth grader, and he sat with me, and he wanted to be a thermodynamic physicist, a physicist in thermodynamics. I don't even know if that's right. I did not do well in science. So something like that. But he kept doing things that he wasn't good at in school, and he had to keep passing these classes that in his brain he wasn't going to ever pursue, right? That's how I felt in geometry. Like, I'm never going to be a geometry teacher or need any of this stuff that I'm learning. I don't need to know the sine, cosine, tangent. It doesn't matter. And you know what? I'm 41 and I haven't used it yet. So I think I was pretty right. Right? If it's really hard for you, then it's really hard to convince you to do well in it, right? When it's really, really hard. So this boy said to me, so don't you wish schools were set up that I got to do the stuff that I was good at? And then I could be closer to doing what I want to do when I'm an adult. And I thought, yeah, that'd be really great. And I said, and of course you'd have to do things that are harder for you or things you're not interested in because you have to be a full package. And he agreed with that. And he said, well, when do I get to do that? And I said, well, when do you want to do that? He's like, how about now? How about now? I know what I want to do. I think his dad was whatever he said, the thermodynamic physicist thing. And I thought, except in the school, there was nothing to do with thermodynamics or physics or being a physicist or anything like that. He was in classes that you were normally in when you were in sixth grade, and it wasn't really helping him move to a different place. And then, right, people are asking, well, what happens if they change their mind? What happens if they, right, all of that stuff. And I thought of that. We talked about that for a long time. And then I thought, okay, well, how do we do this in behavior? Like, how do we hang out with hard behavior and use these islands of competence to make the behavior better? And, right, usually we get strong behavior from things that are hard for us, that we think are unjust or unfair. And our emotions become big when these things happen. And so I did some more research on Island of Competence, and it's Dr. Robert Brooks that is the man that came up with this. And I'm going to talk more about it. It's like a big thing. Right now, I always try to keep these to like 5 minutes. So it's a big thing. So I'm going to read a quote from him, and I'm going to leave this with you. And I'm going to have you think and brainstorm and talk to people about how we can use these things to help kids with academics, to help kids with behavior, to help humans be the best human they could be. Okay? So he says in this article that many of these children, so when he says these children, he's talking about children with challenging behaviors, children with trauma, children with, they're having a harder time in life and in school. So many of these children and adults seem to be drowning in an ocean of self-perceived inadequacy. So, right, like, I'm not good at this, I'm drowning in it, right, in that ocean. If there is an ocean of inadequacy, there must be islands of competence. Because if I'm in an ocean where I am drowning, I need to find land of things I'm good at to climb to sit and cure me, or not cure me, but calm me and make me feel better. So if there is an ocean of inadequacy, there must be islands of competence, areas that have been or have the potential to be sources of pride and accomplishment. So you leave inadequacy and you go to an island of pride and accomplishment. We must help children and adults to identify and reinforce these islands so that at some point they become more dominant than the ocean of inadequacy. I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to think about it. I want you to really brainstorm these kids you see in the ocean of inadequacy. How are we going to get them on their island? Is their island even built yet? Do they know where it is? Do they know how to swim? Right? Start thinking about that stuff, and we'll be back to talk about this more. Thanks, guys.